Pocketsful. Claudia paused in front of a tall merchandise rack in the center of the store. She quickly forgot the beautiful embroidered notebook she had passed up earlier as a wide blue headband now caught her attention. She drew off the new leather gloves she'd borrowed from her mother and rubbed the silky headband between her fingers. Claudia knew it would go perfectly with her talent show costume, so she snatched it off the rack and made her way to the register. Without much enthusiasm, the woman behind the counter said, "That will be $4.59, please." Claudia fumbled through her pocket and pulled out a $10 bill. As she handed the money to the cashier, Annie came charging towards her. "Claudia, do you like these green earrings or the red ones?" Distracted, Claudia took her change from the store clerk and grabbed her bag and receipt. She stuffed the change in her pockets as she told Annie, "I think the green ones are better with your hair color." Hastily, Annie purchased the green earrings, and the two girls headed towards the mall's food court. After buying sandwiches and finding a table, Claudia draped her coat and shopping bag over the back of her chair, rested her gloves on the table, and went to buy a drink. At the register, Claudia reached in her pockets for cash to pay for her smoothie. She expected to find a $5 bill, but pulled out a $10 bill instead. She hesitated, confused. The man in line behind her cleared his throat and stared at her impatiently. "Sorry," Claudia said, and she hurriedly handed the $10 bill to the cashier. Back at the table, she sat down and carefully counted the money in her pockets, comparing the amount to her receipts. "What's wrong, Claudia?" asked Annie. "I think the cashier at the last store gave me too much change," explained Claudia. "Excellent," Annie said, leaning forward to see the money in Claudia's hand. "How much did you get?" "She gave me a $10 bill instead of a 5, Claudia said, sorting through the change she still had left in her pockets. "Should I take it back?" "No way," said Annie. "Keep it. It's not like it was your fault. She should have paid attention to what she was doing." Annie shrugged and raised her eyebrows at Claudia as she sipped her drink through the straw. Claudia paused. "It doesn't feel right." She bit into her sandwich and chewed slowly. Swallowing hard, she said, "It's not my money." "It's your money now," Annie said with a mischievous smile. "The cashier gave it to you." The two girls ate their meal without talking, the noise of the busy mall filling the silence. Claudia half-heartedly picked at her food as she watched the shoppers hurrying by. Then, finally, Annie crumpled her empty sandwich wrapping and aimed it for the nearby trash can. She tossed a paper ball, but it missed, bounced off the trash can, and rolled under their table. Claudia reached under the table and picked up the paper. "You know, Claudia," Annie said, "with that extra $5, you can afford to buy that notebook we saw earlier. Let's go back and get it." Claudia wanted the notebook so badly, but avoided the temptation to spend money she had dedicated to her costume. Now she imagined her pen gliding across the crisp, smooth paper, filling up blank pages with her stories. Claudia smiled at the thought. "All right, let's go," said Claudia. She gathered up the rest of the trash and threw it away. The two girls grabbed their coats and shopping bags, then hurried away arm in arm to the bookstore. Claudia handed Annie her things as soon as she spotted the notebook. She wanted to feel the soft embroidery with her fingers, just as she had done earlier with the silky headband. But as she reached to run her bare hand across the notebook's cover, Claudia remembered her gloves. "My gloves, I left them at the table," Claudia screeched in a panic. "Buy the notebook, then we'll go get them," Annie assured her. "No, I have to go now," Claudia said anxiously. "I borrowed those gloves from my mother." Claudia took her coat and bag from Annie and hurried away. She weaved her way through the mall crowd, doubly checking her pockets and bags while Annie barely kept pace behind her. Claudia's heart dropped when she saw the table at the food court. It was empty, no gloves to be seen. Claudia ran her hands through her hair, searching the ground with her eyes. Annie said, "Calm down. I'm sure your mom won't care that much. They're just a pair of gloves." Just then, a woman pushing a baby stroller approached Claudia, holding out the gloves that belonged to Claudia's mother. "Are these yours?" she inquired slowly and gently. "Yes, they're my mom's, thank you," Claudia exclaimed in relief. "I was about to take them to Lost and Found," the woman said, with a knowing smile. As the woman smiled at her baby and leisurely pulled the stroller away, Annie remarked, "What a nice person." Then Claudia remembered the $5 in her wallet. She had to return the money. "I was here earlier, and you gave me too much change back," exclaimed Claudia as she handed a $5 bill to the cashier with a smile. The lady took the money from Claudia and offered an abrupt, insincere thanks before moving on to the next customer. Claudia had pictured the cashier smiling back and saying, "What a nice person." She thought she would leave the store holding her head high, knowing that she had done the right thing. Instead, Claudia felt as though she had done something wrong and slunk out the store disappointed. Then she saw Annie waiting, shaking her head and grinning. "Do you feel better now?" Claudia pouted. "No, I don't actually." "See, I told you that you should have just kept it," Annie said, rubbing it in. As they walked out of the mall to her mother's car waiting alongside the curb, Claudia reached into her pockets and put on the gloves. As she pulled them over her chilled hands, she thought about how terrible she would feel at the moment if she had to tell her mother she had lost them. "How was your trip to the mall, girls? Did you get what you needed?" Claudia's mother asked. "Not really," Annie said, smiling at Claudia. "Actually," Claudia reflected, "yes, I did."